You stuck-up, precious little bitch. Listen to me.
I'm not going to listen to you.
You're in denial.
I'm not in denial.
Yes, you are.
I am not in
Yes,
denial.
you are.
And some of the jokes.
Oh, shut up!
Asking some dumbass shit like that? Asking me if my wife told me I she got free will? Are you crazy? You insane? This is America.
Most people think fame comes with tolerance, that if you're rich or famous, you're expected to smile through disrespect. But what happens when someone pushes too far? Because not every insult is ignored. Not every line gets laughed off. Sometimes the reaction is immediate, public, and impossible to take back. These are the moments when disrespect met resistance, when mockery turned into consequences, and the people doing the provoking realized, too late, that they picked the wrong person. We're starting with the mildest reactions and working our way toward the moments where everything went off the rails. Gordon Ramsay. This confrontation doesn't start with yelling. It starts with confidence, the misplaced kind. A restaurant owner decides Gordon Ramsay's language is inappropriate. Not his criticism, not his standards. His tone. The man positions himself carefully, standing beside his mother, delivering what he thinks is a moral lecture. He talks about manners, about being an English gentleman, about respect. Ramsay doesn't explode. He pauses. Then he dismantles the performance piece by piece. He points out the contradiction, how the same man who's now offended was laughing moments earlier, how the outrage only appeared once there was an audience.
Your restaurant and your food, 10 out of 10, dreamer.
I don't think it's as bad as you say it is.
Stop being in denial.
How the bravery looks rehearsed. The owner tries to interrupt. That makes it worse. Ramsay calls it out directly. Hypocrisy disguised as virtue. No shouting, no insults, just exposure. By the end, the lecture collapses. The authority flips.
You stuck-up, precious little bitch. Listen to me.
I'm not going to listen to you.
You're in denial.
I'm not in denial.
Yes, you
I am not
are.
in
Yes, you
denial.
are.
And the man who thought he was correcting someone realizes he's been calmly embarrassed instead. It's not violent, it's not explosive, but it's surgical, and it sets the tone for what's coming next. Jim Everett. For years, sports host Jim Rome mocked NFL quarterback Jim Everett by calling him Chris, a deliberate jab meant to question his toughness. Everett warned him, calmly, on air. He explained the boundary clearly. Say it again, and there would be a problem. Rome smiled, then said it again.
You ceased being Jim and you became Chris.
Well, let me tell you a little secret. That, you know, we're sitting here right now, and if you guys want to take a station break, you can. But if you call me Chris Everett to my face one more time...
I already did it twice.
What happens next is fast. Everett stands up, walks across the desk, and puts Rome on the floor. No punches, no chaos. Just a message delivered once. The studio erupts. Security rushes in. Rome scrambles to explain. Everett calmly sits back down. The nickname never appears again. Years of disrespect end in seconds. Matt Rife. Heckling always begins with confidence. It never ends that way. During a stand-up show, a woman in the front row starts making personal remarks about sex, about performance, about things she assumes will land. The comedian lets her talk. Then he responds. Each line strips away the bravado. Each comeback exposes the insecurity underneath. When she admits she came alone, the audience reacts before he even does. The laughter hits first. The reality lands second. There's no shouting, no cruelty, just timing, control, and the reminder that stand-up is a professional arena, not a conversation. By the end, the heckler is silent, and the room understands exactly why. Dana White. At a UFC press conference, a reporter asks a question designed to sound reasonable, but loaded with implication. It's about control, responsibility, a supposed leash on fighters. Dana White stops him mid-sentence. He doesn't debate the premise. He rejects it completely. He makes one thing clear. He doesn't tell grown adults what to say, think, or believe.
He's got the type of pressure on him that after he wins against the guy who has 15 fights and he has 5, and he finishes them, he says thumbs down.
The reporter immediately backs down, changes tone, moves on. The exchange lasts seconds, but the authority shift is absolute. Celine Dion. It starts as a joke, then it keeps going. A talk show host fixates on Celine Dion's son's long hair, circling the topic as if it's a problem that needs solving. The comments sound playful, but they don't stop. Dion doesn't laugh it off. She explains.
Boy, is his hair long.
I know.
I know.
Because Dad doesn't have any?
Yes.
Calmly, she points out the contradiction. Parents get judged no matter what choice they make. Cut the hair and it's too controlling. Leave it long and it's irresponsible. Her voice never rises. Her posture never changes. And that's what ends it. The room shifts. The joke dies in real time. The audience realizes the line was crossed long before anyone laughed. Dion doesn't snap loudly. She shuts it down with clarity. Sometimes the strongest response is composure. Mel B live television leaves no room for edits. During a talent show, a trick fails because of a technical issue. One of the judges cracks a joke, casual, off the cuff, and completely tone-deaf, referencing a deeply personal situation Mel B was dealing with publicly. The reaction is instant. Mel B doesn't play along. She doesn't laugh. She stops the moment cold. The room tightens. The laughter evaporates. The joke collapses under its own weight.
And some of the jokes.
Oh, shut up!
What makes this moment land is how fast it ends. No argument, no escalation, just a clear signal that a boundary was crossed and won't be crossed again. Silence does the rest. Gordon Ramsay. And this wasn't the first time Gordon Ramsay had zero tolerance for disrespect. This moment is simpler and somehow sharper. A customer whistles to get Ramsay's attention. Not calls, not raises a hand. Whistles, like he's summoning a dog, inside Ramsay's own restaurant. The room goes quiet. Ramsay turns slowly, looks directly at him, and answers with one sentence that instantly resets the balance. I'm not your dog. No shouting, no follow-up lecture.
Chef!
Right, don't whistle at me. I'm not your fucking dog, yeah? You look more like a dog than I do.
The customer tries to recover, but it's already over. The correction has been made, publicly. What makes this moment work isn't anger, it's certainty. The whistle isn't ignored, it's corrected. And once that happens, there's nothing left for the disrespect to stand on. Charlemagne. An interview starts relaxed, then the questions get personal. Charlemagne pushes assumptions disguised as curiosity, prodding at a guest's masculinity in private life. It sounds like banter, until it doesn't. The guest listens, then responds. What follows is surgical. Each comeback lands with precision. The power flips mid-sentence. Suddenly, the interviewer is on defense, explaining himself while the guest controls the pace. No shouting, no chaos. Just a reminder that provoking someone skilled with words is a losing strategy. By the end, the room knows exactly who misjudged the moment. Will Smith. Some people confuse access with entitlement. They mistake proximity for permission and attention for approval. On a crowded red carpet, a notorious prankster crosses that line. He moves into personal space like it belongs to him, turning someone else's moment into a setup for clicks. The goal is obvious: shock value, a viral clip, another headline built on invasion disguised as humor. For a split second, it looks like it might work. Then it doesn't. The response is immediate. One action, no buildup, no warning. The crowd freezes, cameras hesitate, and within minutes, the moment is everywhere. Headlines race each other. Social media ignites. Clips loop endlessly as arguments break out across every platform. For a brief moment, the entire industry seems to pause, trying to process what just happened and how to explain it. Years later, the same prankster tries again, as if the first incident never happened, as if the lesson didn't land. But it did, because the message was clear. Public space is not an invitation, access is not ownership, and disrespect doesn't always get ignored. Sometimes, it's answered instantly, on the world's biggest stage. Gigi Hadid. Fashion Week is chaos. Cameras everywhere. Security stretched thin. In the middle of it all, a prankster lunges toward Gigi Hadid from behind, grabbing at her in public. For a brief moment, it looks like confusion, a mistake, something that might pass as accidental. Then it doesn't. Hadid reacts instantly. She turns, strikes back, demands space. There's no hesitation and no freeze, just instinct taking over. Security closes in as the crowd recoils, the atmosphere shifting from spectacle to shock in seconds. The cameras don't stop rolling. The clip spreads fast, shared and reshared as people argue over what they saw. But the message cuts through the noise. Hadid is escorted away, shaken but composed, refusing to apologize for protecting herself. The moment becomes something larger than a headline. It becomes a reminder. Fame doesn't erase personal boundaries. Public attention doesn't equal permission. And when those boundaries are crossed, consequences follow, immediately, publicly, and without negotiation. Matt Damon. This interview starts awkward and then gets worse. While promoting a film, Matt Damon is asked why teachers don't work harder, with the implication that job security makes them lazy.
It's like saying a teacher is going to get lazy when they have tenure. A teacher wants to teach. I mean, why else would you take a shitty salary and really long hours?
The question is already shaky. Then the camera cuts to Damon's mother, a teacher. Damon doesn't hesitate. He dismantles the premise immediately, explaining that people don't choose teaching for money or comfort. They do it because they care. He challenges the logic, questions the statistics, exposes how little thought went into the claim. When the interviewer throws out a random number to defend himself, Damon shuts that down too. Even the cameraman joins in, openly mocking the argument. What was meant to sound clever collapses on live television. By the end, Damon isn't angry. He's disappointed. And somehow, that's worse. Kanye West. This one doesn't escalate, it detonates. A paparazzi approaches Kanye West and asks if his wife has free will. The question isn't subtle, and Kanye treats it accordingly. He steps forward, demands the question be repeated.
Asking such dumbass shit like that? Asking me if my wife told me I do she got free will? Are you crazy? You insane? This is America.
Forces the reporter to own it. Police move closer. Phones come out. The moment turns chaotic, but controlled. Kanye doesn't retreat. He reframes the interaction completely, calling out the entitlement behind the question and refusing to let it slide. The exchange becomes uncomfortable, then unforgettable. By the time it ends, the reporter's confidence is gone. The crowd understands exactly why the reaction happened. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a boundary being enforced loudly. Mel Gibson. The interview begins normally. Then the questions drift backward, toward controversies Gibson has already addressed and moved on from. The interviewer pushes, reframing old issues as if time hasn't passed. Gibson answers at first, calm, short, controlled. But when the segment wraps, he adds one final word under his breath. Quiet, sharp, dismissive. The interviewer freezes. There's no argument, no follow-up. Just the sudden realization that the line was crossed, and the interview is over in spirit, even if the cameras are still rolling. Sometimes snapping doesn't look dramatic. Sometimes it's just final. Andy Kaufman and Jerry Lawler. And in the early 1980s, late-night television was safe, polite, predictable. Then Andy Kaufman and Jerry Lawler sat down together. The insults start light, almost playful. Then they sharpen. Kaufman pushes. Lawler warns him. The tension thickens until, without warning, Lawler slaps Kaufman on live television. The room gasps. The show collapses in real time. Kaufman screams. Threats fly. Producers scramble. The audience doesn't know what's real and what's gone too far. For years, viewers believed they witnessed a genuine on-air meltdown. Raw, uncontrolled, and completely off script. Only later does the truth emerge. It was staged. But that revelation doesn't erase the impact. In the moment, it felt dangerous, unplanned, irreversible, the kind of television that couldn't exist anymore. And that's exactly why it became legend. Leonardo DiCaprio. By the time this interview happens, Leonardo DiCaprio is already a global star. Awards, box office power, worldwide recognition. None of that is up for debate. What is questioned is his environmental activism. The interviewer doesn't ask with curiosity. There's sarcasm in the delivery, a smirk behind the words. The implication is clear. This is celebrity posturing, Performative, concern, easy activism from a position of privilege. DiCaprio doesn't interrupt. He doesn't bristle. He listens. Then he responds, measured, calm, and deliberate. He explains that influence carries responsibility, whether someone asks for it or not. That attention can amplify issues that would otherwise be ignored. And that dismissing advocacy simply because it comes from a famous person is an easy way to avoid engaging with the issue itself. There's no speech-making, no self-congratulation, just a quiet dismantling of the premise behind the question. As he speaks, the room changes. The sarcasm drains out of the exchange. The interviewer stops smirking, starts nodding. The posture shifts from challenge to acknowledgement. What was meant to undermine DiCaprio ends up doing the opposite. His credibility increases. The mockery collapses. Instant karma, delivered without raising his voice. Disrespect only works when it's tolerated. Every moment you've just seen ends the same way. Someone assumes silence. They got a response instead. And in that instant, the balance of power shifted. If you enjoyed this breakdown, like the video, subscribe, and stay tuned. Because some reactions don't just stop conversations, they end reputations.